The basic idea of Future Day is very simple: to have a day to celebrate the future and all the amazing potential that it holds. When you look at the holidays we celebrate now, most of them are either celebrating events that happened a long time in the past or celebrating cyclical processes like the seasons. There's no time when we get together, put our minds together, think about what the future holds, celebrate together the amazing possibilities of the future. Working like I do on artificial intelligence and life extension and robotics technology, I'm surrounded all the time with people who are thinking about the future and all the potential that it holds. But I think there's a large disconnect between this sort of future-oriented worldview and the worldview that I see in the average people around me, in the mass culture. When you look at what students are taught in school, there's an awful lot of past history, and there's not that much focus on what those children can do as they grow to transform the world and make it radically better, transform themselves and other people to create amazing new things. The past is important. We should remember and understand the past. But ultimately, we can't do anything about the past. The future is where our actions make a difference. We need to be focusing as a whole, as a species, as a culture, on the future at least as much as on the past. Future Day is one way of helping to reorient people toward future-based thinking and living.
So what sort of activities do you think people will be getting up to on Future Day? I know that there's going to be a Second Life event. There's going to be a few small events dotted around the world. So what sort of thing do you envision people should do?
Ultimately, I see Future Day becoming bigger than Christmas. The future is far more important than the past. As we approach this singularity, the past becomes less and less relevant. The future becomes more and more interesting. But Future Day is a new holiday. Like everything else, it's going to start off somewhat slowly and then accelerate. This year, 2012, is the first time we're going to celebrate Future Day. There's going to be a series of 2012 will be the world's first Future Day. It will be celebrated by a collection of Future Day partings and gatherings in cities all around the world, as well as in the virtual world, in Second Life. Next year, 2013, we anticipate expanding the scope of the celebration, try to get Future Day adopted in schools, run essay contests, and generally spread the Future Day meme further throughout the population. This year, right now, 2012, if you'd like to help us celebrate Future Day, this year, right now, 2012, if you'd like to participate in Future Day, what you can do is simply gather people together in your home, in your school.
So, the Future Day.
All right, start over again. Now,
Why the heck?
why do you think Future Day is a good idea?
I mean, everybody's been wrong about the future before, haven't they? Well, no, not everybody. I think it's useful to be able to focus on and hone our skills on predicting, making better predictions about the future, and forecasting, making better forecast models about the future. I just don't understand why so many holidays are about the past, and it seems as though everything that's been important has been done, but it's already been done. It's all in the past. Yes, look at this famous person in the past. Is it always going to be that way? Are we always just going to be celebrating our past, or celebrating possibility, and what we can and some of the amazing outcomes with technology in the near future? Yeah, so I think Future Day is a fantastic idea, and I think we do need a dedicated day to think about not only the amazing outcomes of some of the technologies, but the social issues around accepting technologies. We need to get everybody as aware as possible early on, so that they can formulate not just knee-jerk reactions to up and coming technologies when they suddenly appear in the limelight, but get them to start thinking about them early, so that they can form mature understandings, um, mature sort of ideologies around how technology should work in society. I see that as a problem now, because most people think the future is about blinking red eyes and chromium skulls with, and Skynet. And yeah, it's a bit hard to sort of talk people out of that way of thinking sometimes. I find it difficult myself for people to convince people to take the idea of forecasting the future seriously. We're standing on we're really in unprecedented times in history now. So the history of a time to come may require us to step up a precipice into a very unknown future with massive change in technology. Things are increasing at an accelerating rate, as Ray Oz likes to say, and I do agree with him on that. Um, so yeah, the future is going to be full. Yes, there's going to be new iPhones. There's going to be gadgets with blinking lights, but there's also going to be transformative technologies that make us think about how we live and what is available to us, and think about even the meaning of life in an engineering way, rather than just what we've been sort of lumped with, evolution.
Yeah. I mean,
So
when you think about it, humanity right now is in its infancy. We're not near the end of history. We're at the very beginning of human history. And unlike with a human child that sees its life ahead of it, we don't know what's going to develop. We don't know what our future holds. And we get to shape how the future unfolds. We don't need to be looking back at the past. That's like a 2-year-old child studying his history rather than looking at all the rest of the life in front of him. Humanity's at the very beginning. What we need to do now is think about what are the possibilities forward. Which ones do we like? Which ones do we not like so much? And what can we now do together to shape the future, to nudge the future in a direction that suits us and our values and our ideals? Society needs to focus on this more. We all need to focus on this more because the future is happening whether we focus on it or not.
agreed. I think there's a quote that says, "Those who forget their past are doomed to repeat it, but those who dwell on the past, I'd say, are also doomed to repeat it." We're doomed, just doomed. So I think
Doomed! We're
doomed.
doomed!
That's right. I think it's important to put the past in context and use lessons from the past, but also understand that the changes that we're making, or the technologies that are surfacing, are actually changing the game. So the rules that we sort of lived by in the past, we don't live by today. I mean, some of them are obvious. We don't need to club a girl over the head in order to get her home. We don't need to
Although it can be
sack our
entertaining.
neighbours in order to survive. Yeah, yeah. Well, we don't need to. I'm saying there are other alternatives. So hopefully we can find some more congenial alternatives to survival in the future that are beneficial not to just the individual or to the ego, but to everyone involved. And hopefully it's not just all about a few people sort of running the show. Hopefully everybody gets involved and everybody has an
It's
opinion
about
and everybody
instead
has a
it will
stake
be
in it.
about a few robots running the show.
Yeah, well, as long as they're beneficial, as long as they're friendly. I don't mind a robot for president. I don't care as long as it's a good robot.
Ultimately, I'd like to see Future Day adopted as a major holiday in towns, cities, and countries around the world. There's no reason why Future Day shouldn't be celebrated in every school and university and workplace. There's no educational institution, no place of work on the planet that shouldn't be trying to understand the future and trying to celebrate the possibilities that the future offers.
Well, I mean, yeah, there are. I think there's just some interesting possibilities with Future Day in schools. Definitely, we have National Science Week, like for instance in Australia. I'm sure there's something in
Yeah,
America, but often like the focus is around science and cooking, or
yeah.
the science of how to make a cocktail or how to make a drink fizzy. I mean, the sort of science that appeals to the general public because they're all pretty much addicted to the status quo. It's great. I think we really do need to sort of focus not on just appealing to people's sense of stability and trying to maintain status quo because it's an illusion. It, in these days, it's definitely an illusion. I mean, things are going to change in the next 10, 20, 30 years, even more so. So I think focusing on spreading awareness and getting people to um, consider well how the future will change and how they'll fit into the future, how they want the future to change. And I hope it's not just going to be based on cooking shows and reality TV.
Well, according to South Park, this whole planet and human race is a giant reality TV show. So you never know.
Who's watching? It must be
Some
boring.
aliens.
Some aliens, yeah.
Yes, some
We've been
bug-eyed
fed
monsters on another planet.
some
Yeah.
stinky, like 14-year-old aliens gazing in with nothing better to do.
Yeah, I mean, they're
Smarter
already
brothers
past
and
their
sisters in our
singularity.
labs
They don't have to
creating the
work
universe.
anymore. They've got nothing to do but watch us piss around here on Earth. Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen to us.
Well, yeah, my own point of view on the future is fairly radical. I think that within my lifetime, and I'm 45 years old, I think that within the next few decades, we're going to see AIs and robots that are much smarter than human beings. I believe we're going to be able to extend our lives radically. I'm 45 years old now. It's possible I'll get old and die, but I think it's quite possible I could live hundreds, thousands, millions of years. But I'm not looking at Future Day specifically as a way to celebrate this sort of radical vision of the future. Future Day is really a time for everyone to share their own visions of the future, to invent their own visions of the future, to create visions of the future together. We all need to be thinking about what's coming and what we can do to make it the best for all of us.
Cool. So when's your book coming out, Ben?
Which one?
Um, the new one. It's the technical one, the one that
Oh, I
building
don't
better
know. I've been
minds.
so busy here in Hong Kong. I'm not finding that much time to edit it. But I guess I'll be back in the U.S. In middle of March for a couple of weeks. I'll probably get a bunch of editing on the book then, and then I'm going to print up like 10 copies
Yep.
and
Okay,
give them to various AI people to read and criticize, and then go back and do a final revision. But
yeah, it's better to get
I
it
just
done
got
well.
maybe 20 hours more of editing to do before that version is done. But I've got so many projects going on here, I never seem to find time to do it. No.
Yeah. That being said, we've got the Humanity Plus Summit in March, April, March. Yeah, from the 4th to the 6th. Yeah, so you might be coming to that. Natasha Vita Moore might be coming to that, but Aubrey de Grey is definitely coming to that.
Yeah,
So,
I'm pretty sure I can't do it.
really?
It's
Oh.
too busy. And anyway, I was just there last year. They need a break from me. Uh,
Do they?
I'll come next year.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Oh. So, are you going to have something in Hong Kong on the 1st of March?
Probably, but I'm not sure what. Yeah, we'll probably do some party in that space of Geno's where we showed the film that night.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, like I've just been telling people, you don't need to do anything exotic or anything amazingly, well organized, or you don't. Yeah, it's just a get together. You can have a get
Because
together and you can just.
that week I'm gonna have a bunch of open cog people from overseas here. So
Oh, okay. Do you reckon they'd be
doing
interested in
like an
going?
open cog program. We're doing like an open cog programming tutorial with
Okay.
that week. So I'll have a bunch of AGI people around anyway.
Okay, is this people who already do AI, or is it new people?
Yeah. So it's actually one guy who works for me already, but not on AI, on brain simulation. One guy who's a American guy. He's a just an OpenCog volunteer enthusiast. He bought a Now robot and has been trying to connect OpenCog to it.
Okay.
One guy from China who will be joining the project here, but hasn't got his visa yet.
Yeah.
So he's gonna come, and then another guy who's coming from the U.S. to join the team here.
Oh well, people
Yeah,
just want to.
I mean, at this point, I get more invitations to go speak places and get my airfare and hotel covered. I could do it like half the year each year,
Yeah.
but then I would get nothing done except speechifying, right?
Mm.
I don't want to do that. I see that it's. I'm not yet at the point like Ray where he gets paid like $30,000 to give a speech. Then I would do it actually.
Yeah. Hey, you
I mean,
just
then
pay someone else to do it.
after a couple years of speechifying, I could fund OpenCog myself that way, right?
Yeah.